and voila, ta-da! This particular video is dedicated to my makeup student that I'm currently having a class with for just a personal makeup tutorial for her to be able to do her makeup. So thank you so much for watching. If you watch up to this point, we're in spring now and it keeps giving me summer vibes. Some days are so warm like today. Hydrate. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be doing a kind of makeup look that you can comfortably wear when the weather is so warm, or if you are from a warm place like my Nigerians. These techniques might help you. So yeah, keep watching. The first thing I'll do is to lay down my brow hairs before I start anything else so that the brow gel can dry down. Using my brow wax from iMethod Beauty. I think I have it linked. You can find it in my Amazon storefront. And then I'll coat my whole brow hairs with it back and forth just to make sure that everything is in place and together. And this helps when you want to like get your brows done in that kind of temporary brow lamination. It gives that vibes. And then the kind of feathery brows, if you want to have like natural feathery looking brows. I have butchered my brows here somewhere where when I was probably trying to carve it up. Everything already looks in place, but I'll still go ahead to press that down. Just use the middle here to improvise and press that down. Press down. Press. This makeup look also goes for you if you have oily skin. I'm sure this will work perfectly for you also. And then the next thing you do not want to forget is your primer. So I'm going in with my Milk Hydro Grip primer. I'm taking this much. That is like equal to 2 pumps. Okay, that's the consistency. I'm applying all over my face, including my lid area, because I'll be doing eyeshadows today. But if you have oily skin, you want to focus it on the areas you sweat a lot, because this primer is good for both dry skin, oily skin, and whatnot. It's not a mattifying primer per se, but I mean when it dries, it gives a kind of gripping, matte gripping kind of look. I don't know how to explain it, but I've been using it for a while and it works for me. So see that? So it grips your makeup. I'm going to use my fan to dry out my face a little bit before I continue. And when it comes to, I do not have oily skin, but from the little knowledge I've gathered and some videos I've watched, when it comes to oily skin, the base of your makeup, the base of your skincare routine and your skin prep before your makeup, which is obviously the base and everything, aside your foundation anyway, it's very important. So if you are in a hurry or you jump steps, or because you feel you have oily skin, you're going to use all matte products, your face might come out looking very cakey. Personally, matte products are not very easy to blend because they dry out really fast. So you first of all want to know what type of skincare products are good for your skin, because some people sweat but they don't have oily skin per se, they have combination skin. So when you use overly mattifying products, it doesn't sit down well on your skin. So the next thing I'll do, we must have been seeing this all over the internet, I'll be using a loose setting powder. This is a translucent powder from CoverGirl. I chose to use this today because of the shade. If you don't have this, you can use a regular white powder. that should be able to work for you. Any loose setting powder that you have is fine. Loose powders are better because they tend to create that matte effect very quickly compared to compact powders like this one. But if you don't have, you can always use a compact powder. You just need to apply so much of it. So to do that, I'll use my powder puff. It also has a fluffy powder puff here, but I don't want to apply like too much at once. So I dip the powder puff on top of the puff that came with the powder, and then I just gently apply this all over my face. Okay, so when your skin is a bit matte, it kind of helps to control the oils that come out when you apply your makeup. I'll make sure to apply this on my brows too, to reduce that shiny look it usually has after you've applied your brow wax and what have you. This particular video is dedicated to my makeup student that I'm currently having a class with, for just a personal makeup tutorial for her to be able to do her makeup. She has oily skin, so I'm pretty sure this will work perfectly for her. Okay. The days when we didn't used to do much of makeup, this was our routine. After you use your body cream on your face, you just apply your powder, adjust everything, and then you're good to go. So after this, you don't need everything to be like completely smooth, but the smoother the better. You want a clean canvas that you can work with ease. So after this, the next thing I'm going to do is to go in with my foundation. I'm used to doing my makeup starting with my concealer these days, but for the sake of this video, I'll go ahead to apply my foundation first. I have these cute disposable palettes here, disposable spoolie brushes and applicators. These are very important if you want to like do makeup for around public, like for different people at different times. And then if you have oily skin, I would suggest you use a light to medium coverage foundation. Why? Because when you use foundations that are too thick or you apply too much, it just tends to become cakey because you sweat and everything mixed together. So I feel like less is more when you have oily skin or when you sweat a lot. So after you've done this base, I suggest you go in with a befitting foundation, not necessarily completely matte. This is the NARS Sheer Glow foundation in the shade Caracas. It's medium dark, 3.3. That's my shade. Or I use the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear foundation. It has an SPF of 25. This is a hydrating foundation. This is also hydrating but gives a matte finish. And this from Oma Beauty is also my shade. You can see my shades in three different lights. Sometimes I mix this and this. Okay, this is very yellow. It depends on what kind of look I'm going for, what kind of concealers I'm using, and what time of the year, because during the summer I get very dark skin, like my skin becomes darker. During the winter I become lighter, and sometimes my foundations don't look so good on me, so I just do a lot of mixing, and sometimes I mix with my concealers. So for today, I'll go in with this. I'll just put a little bit of this. You want to try to be as clear as possible when you're applying your makeup, so it's best you always smooth out everything before applying on your face. Get a palette, put your product on your palette, use a flat brush to smoothen it out before you apply. Apply before you blend. You don't just start blending. You can always do that too, but it all depends on what works for you. So I got this new brush sets. They are the Monge brush sets. Monge. Okay. So I'll be using these ones. Their foundation, blending brushes, concealer, and powder brush. Jessie, where is my powder? I've got like 4 different sets of brushes. These ones are like concealer brushes and eye blending brushes. Still an angled brush for my blush. I'll be using this small brush to just press this on to kind of smoothing it out and mix before I apply. Okay, so for my application I just do this, and you want to focus your foundation away from your under eye areas and these places that you sweat a lot. You need very little amount of foundation there. It's best you don't even apply there first. You apply in other areas and then you blend and use like the remnant to blend those areas, so you don't have like a lot. When you have too much around those places, it tends to cake, which you don't want. Okay, so even if the weather is hot or you have oily skin, you always should and need to make sure your skin is hydrated. When you're dry, I'm going to be using this fluffy foundation brush to blend. I'll go ahead to wet this also, just a few sprays. Give it a second, and then I'll go ahead to start blending this. This brush is large and fluffy, so it will make the blending easier. One thing about matte foundation that I was trying to tell you guys earlier is when foundations are matte, you don't apply them and leave them for so long. They will dry out and leave your face very patchy, because by the time you start blending, everything is going to look very, very patchy. This foundation, as I said earlier, gives me a matte finish whenever I use it. So, but it's not like a bad kind of matte vibes that leaves your skin all dry. But it gives me a matte finish when I use it. And the advantage of using a big brush to blend is you don't stress. You just do a little and everything seems to be in place. And I like this brush because the bristles are light and fluffy. So when I don't want to use a dense brush for my blending, I just use it to give a kind of light coverage that stays on top of my skin. So I'll go in with a little bit more foundation, just a little bit more. The portions where I would normally apply concealer, I've tried to put very little foundation in those portions, so I don't have like a lot of products moving around. If you're the type who doesn't like makeup, this is the point. You just apply some powder on your under eye area and your T-zone area and you're good to go. If you're the type who likes concealer, you can go ahead to apply your concealer, then set, and you're good to go. Of course, with your eye makeup, your eyeliner and all of that stuff. So this foundation is already mattifying, so it's already giving a dry kind of vibe, and I don't need to dry it out just yet. Okay, I'll just go ahead to apply my concealer at this point. I'll be using this from Maybelline Fit Me. I've had this for a while. As you can see, it's almost a done deal. Put this on my palette. So if you have oily skin, when applying your concealer, you want to make sure to not apply so much also. Like I said, I feel like less is more when it comes to oily skin and how you apply your products. Less is more. It gives a natural finish, which is what everybody should aim for. is closer to my skin tone. So after blending this on the palette, it kind of gives you control of how much you apply at once. You want to apply close to your tear duct area a little bit, but not too close because sometimes it gets very hard to blend. So you just apply it in such a way that by the time you're done blending, everything comes together. Okay, so why not we blend this first, and then feel free to blend this like that. Okay, so I'm just doing this in a tap motion. Much blending to do, and then to give a little more highlight, I go blend. So when you use smaller brushes for things like this, it gives you control over what you're doing. And then I blend to remove that circular shape you can see, just a little bit outwards to give that brightness. But before you bake, you go ahead and set your face so that everything is in place first of all. I'll be setting my face using this compact powder. I use my shade, press this on my skin to reduce and to even it out and to reduce the excess. Okay, I'll just slightly do that. See the difference? And if you're to use a brush, just be as light-handed as possible, but add enough, but just make sure you blend it well. Don't be afraid to add the amounts that you need, because at the end of the day you can just go over it with your setting spray and everything comes together. So I actually did my contouring off camera. I'll go ahead to set my contours too. Less is more, and it's always better to build up gradually. Don't seek to just apply once and get it over with and be done. And make sure you blend the harsh lines where you can see the highlights. Blend that out. Go over the skin. My contour shade. I'll go ahead to use my setting powder, the one I used at the beginning before my foundation. And I'll be baking this time, so I just need to, because it's baking doesn't mean you have to pack it on there at once. So like I said, building it up gradually is very important. And I just want to focus this on my under eye area. You have oily skin, you focus on your nose, and I'll put a little here. Like smoothing out everything. I don't like to do too much, so whenever I have to bake, I feel like I look like a doll, but I mean, that's what we're going for today. To snatch this portion so it's not too white. The Wait there for a while, then I'll dust it off and go over it with my setting spray. I have hooded eyes, so the trick is I just do that and then look up. So wherever it stops, I know that is where my hood is. So this is the finished look. What do you think about it? Is it soft and glammed enough? To finish this off, I'll go in with my Milani Long Lasting Setting Spray. I'll just spray this all over. And voila, ta-da! So thank you so much for watching. If you watch up to this point, it's nice having you here. I hope you learned something. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.